Zig Ziglar's concept of synchronicity isn't just random coincidence. It's the intersection of your soul and the universe. When you feel a connection you can't explain, it's your subconscious signaling. Pay attention, this is significant. Zig Ziglar once said, "What you don't know is running your life." That person's presence might be a doorway to parts of your soul you've never touched, an invitation to explore yourself through them. Have you ever met someone who made your heart skip a beat? Not from love at first sight, but from a strange feeling that they belong in your life? No explanation, just a quiet certainty. Zig Ziglar, the great motivational speaker, said this isn't random, it's a call from deep within your soul. Stay with me, because I'm about to reveal why. When someone is truly meant for you, you'll feel it without a shred of doubt. Welcome to a journey exploring the mystery of relationships through the lens of Zig Ziglar. If these words resonate with you, hit that like button. It's how you help me spread this profound understanding. Zig Ziglar believed no one enters your life without a reason. Today, we'll uncover why, when the right person shows up, you'll know. Not with your mind, but with your soul. There are moments in life when you wonder if the person in front of you is truly right for you. And I'm not just talking about romantic relationships. This applies to any deep connection with another human being, like friends, business partners, mentors, or even those who seem to step into your life at the perfect moment. But how do you know if they truly align with you? Zig Ziglar spent much of his life studying the subconscious and how it shapes our relationships. For Zig Ziglar, nothing we experience is random. He saw life as a mirror reflecting the soul, where every relationship carries a deeper meaning beyond what the eye can see. He believed the people who appear in your life aren't just chance encounters. They're pieces of a larger puzzle, a picture of who you are. When you question if someone is truly meant for you, Zig Ziglar would urge you to look within. What in me called this person here? It's not blind fate, but a summons from your subconscious, guiding you to the lessons you need to grow. What we go through isn't random. The people who enter our lives don't show up by accident. They're often embodiments of inner processes we don't fully grasp. Have you ever felt an unexplainable connection with someone? You might try to rationalize it, but something in their energy, their presence, or the way they exist stirs you on an almost magical level. Zig Ziglar would say this feeling is a sign of synchronicity, a moment when your inner world and outer reality align perfectly. It's as if the universe is sending you a sign that this person plays a vital role in your life. But how do you tell the difference between a genuine connection and a fleeting illusion? This is where understanding the subconscious becomes essential. Zig Ziglar believed our relationships mirror our inner world. If you constantly find yourself surrounded by people who challenge you negatively, drain your energy, or leave you feeling inadequate, it's not just bad luck. It's an invitation from your subconscious to look inside. Zig Ziglar called this the process of reflection. The people you meet are images of uncharted parts of yourself. If negativity keeps showing up, Zig Ziglar would ask, what in you is allowing this? He believed the subconscious is always seeking balance, and tough relationships are reminders that something in you needs healing. Picture your subconscious as a strict teacher. It doesn't punish you. It guides you through the living mirrors of the people around you. Look within and ask yourself, what part of me is permitting or even attracting these dynamics? When someone is truly right for you, you'll know, because there's no constant tug of war between who you are and who you feel you need to be. Meaningful relationships don't force you to betray your essence. You won't feel the need to hide parts of yourself, bend to others' expectations, or force a connection that doesn't flow naturally. Instead, that person makes you feel seen, understood, and accepted, not because they idealize you, but because they recognize you. Zig Ziglar emphasized that a true relationship isn't where you lose yourself, it's where you find yourself. He once said, The purpose of life is to become who you are. When someone is truly meant for you, they don't ask you to wear a mask or play a role. They see the real you and celebrate it. This acceptance isn't romantic fantasy. It's a profound recognition between two souls moving toward wholeness. That's why you feel light and unburdened. They reflect the light you've nurtured within. Their presence reflects the bond you have with yourself. Zig Ziglar spoke of individuation, the process of becoming your truest self beyond societal masks and expectations. As you walk this path, you start attracting people who align with your truth, not because they magically appear, but because you now have the clarity to recognize them and the courage to let go of those who no longer resonate. Think about it. How many times have you clung to relationships you knew deep down weren't right for you? Zig Ziglar's individuation isn't just a journey of self-discovery, it's a reshaping of your relationships. He believed that as you grow closer to your true self, the world around you shifts to match that truth. Zig Ziglar once said, "Who you meet in life is a result of what you carry in your soul." When you release connections that no longer fit, you don't just free yourself from weight. You create space for real connections, for people who see and honor the person you're becoming. Those relationships where conflict is constant, where you feel you're fighting for every scrap of affection, where simply being yourself seems like a problem. It doesn't mean they're bad or you're wrong, it just means there's a mismatch, a disconnect between who you are and what the relationship demands you become. Before we go further, I want to take a moment to let you know my book is out now. It's packed with advice and techniques to help you overcome emotional blocks and cultivate self-love. You can find the link in the description and pinned comment. Zig Ziglar would agree that mismatched relationships aren't failures, they're chances to learn. He once stressed, everything that shows up in your life has meaning. Those struggles are an invitation from your subconscious to reflect, what in you is holding on to this discord? Healing isn't just about letting go of others. It's about releasing false beliefs about your own worth, something my book can help you dive deeper into. Now, moving forward, Zig Ziglar reminds us that the subconscious is always seeking balance. If you spend your life chasing relationships that exhaust you, at some point your mind and body will signal something's wrong. Maybe you start feeling anxious, tired, or unmotivated. Perhaps you even notice physical signs, sleeplessness, unexplained aches, or lingering fatigue. These are your being shouting for change. Zig Ziglar saw these signals as the voice of the subconscious, pulling you back to natural balance. He once said, "The body doesn't lie, it's the soul's messenger." When you ignore these signs, you don't just hurt yourself, you delay the journey to relationships that truly fit. Imagine your subconscious as a silent companion, always trying to protect you by ringing alarm bells when you veer off course. That's why, when someone is truly right for you, you'll know. Not because everything will be perfect, not because there'll never be disagreements or tough moments, but because their presence doesn't feel like a constant battle. You'll experience something deeper, a comfort, a sense of belonging, a connection that doesn't demand you sacrifice your true self. That's how you recognize it. What Zig Ziglar saw as essential for mental health was harmony, but there's something even more profound. The harmony Zig Ziglar spoke of isn't just surface peace. It's the state when your soul and theirs vibrate at the same frequency. He once wrote, "The meeting of two people is like the contact of two chemicals. If there's a reaction, both are transformed." When someone is truly right, they don't just bring peace. They awaken a better version of you, not through pressure but through natural resonance. Zig Ziglar believed a true connection with another person happens when our souls recognize each other. It might sound mystical, but it's deeply practical. Throughout life, we gather experiences, wounds, and lessons. Often, without realizing it, we seek something in others to help us heal. If someone enters your life and sparks a sense of growth and expansion, if they inspire you to be more yourself, Rather than shrink to fit, that's a sign something meaningful is unfolding. Zig Ziglar called this the meeting of archetypes in the subconscious, deep patterns that shape how we connect. He believed a person who's truly right isn't just a companion, but a guide, helping you face forgotten parts of yourself. Zig Ziglar once said, "Relationships are the path to self-awareness. When they spark growth in you, it's a mark of a connection beyond the ordinary, one with purpose." Yet, this doesn't always mean they'll stay forever. Some connections walk with us for a time before moving on their own path, but while they're in your life, their presence leaves an impact far beyond words. On the flip side, if you keep finding yourself in relationships where you feel the need to prove your worth, where fear of abandonment or rejection drives your actions, it's time to ask, what in me needs healing? Zig Ziglar stressed that not every relationship is meant to last, but all have meaning. He once said, "Every encounter is an appointment with destiny. Those who stay briefly might be teachers, helping you learn to let go or see what you truly need." If you're fighting to prove your value, Zig Ziglar would ask, who in you is afraid, the real you or the mask? It's an invitation to look at your own wounds. Do you choose these relationships from self-love, or do they stem from a fear of loneliness? Zig Ziglar believed loneliness isn't something to fear. It's a sacred space where you can meet yourself. When you learn to be at peace with who you are, you stop desperately seeking someone to fill a void. And in that moment, when you no longer need someone to complete you, the truest relationships begin to appear. The secret isn't in finding the right person. The real secret is becoming the truest version of yourself. Zig Ziglar saw loneliness as a gateway to individuation. He once said, "Loneliness doesn't come from having no one around. It comes from being unable to connect with yourself." When you find peace in your own space, you stop relying on others to feel whole. Zig Ziglar believed that only when you stand strong alone can you meet others from a place of strength, not lack. Because when you do, the right connections naturally emerge. You don't have to force anything. You don't need to convince anyone you're worthy of love. You just be yourself, and that's enough. If you've ever felt someone enter your life at the perfect time, their presence bringing clarity, peace, or even the necessary challenge to push you forward, don't dismiss it. Life is full of synchronicities, signposts guiding you if you learn to listen. But the key lies in self-awareness. Zig Ziglar would tell you these moments aren't random. They're the synchronicity he studied his whole life. He once wrote, "Synchronicity is the universe's language. When someone shows up right on time, it's a sign your subconscious is working with the world to show you something." Zig Ziglar urged you to listen, not just with your ears, but with your heart and soul. That's how you recognize the true meaning of connection. It's about understanding yourself, recognizing your patterns, realizing what you're truly seeking in a relationship, and most importantly, having the courage to let go of what no longer resonates. Zig Ziglar taught us that the reality we experience reflects our inner world. If you want to attract the right people, you first have to become the right person for yourself. The relationships we encounter aren't random. Zig Ziglar believed everything in our outer world embodies inner processes, parts of us we haven't yet explored or understood. He called this the principle of reflection. The outer world is a mirror of your soul. Zig Ziglar once said, "What you see in others is what you carry within." If you want to change your relationships, Zig Ziglar would tell you to start within. Understanding yourself isn't just about uncovering strengths. It's about facing the shadows, the fears and false beliefs you've unknowingly let shape your life. If you keep finding yourself in relationships that leave you anxious, insecure, or empty, it's time to ask, what in my soul is drawing this in? This isn't magic or blind fate, it's a reflection of your inner world. If deep down you feel unworthy, you're likely to connect with people who reinforce that belief. Not because they're bad, but because your subconscious seeks to confirm what it already holds as true. Zig Ziglar called this projection. When you're unaware of a part of yourself, you see it in others. He once wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you'll call it fate." If you feel insecure, Zig Ziglar would ask, who in you feels unworthy, the real you or the self you've built to hide fear? It's an invitation to break the cycle by facing yourself. The key to breaking this loop is awareness. When you start noticing these patterns and realize your relationships reflect inner beliefs, you gain the power to change them. You no longer seek love to fill a void. You seek to share the love already within you. And when you act from that place, the people who enter your life mirror that energy. So ask yourself, am I choosing love from wholeness or from fear? Zig Ziglar believed awareness is the first step to freedom. He once said, "Awareness is the light that pierces the darkness." When you see fear has guided your choices, you can shift, not to chase love from outside, but to cultivate it within. Zig Ziglar would tell you true love begins when you stop running from yourself and start embracing who you really are, because your answer to that question will shape the quality of every connection you experience from this moment on. Zig Ziglar explained this through the concept of projection. When we're unaware of parts of our personality, we project them onto others, seeing in them what's really a piece of us. Maybe you've been in a relationship where you felt unappreciated, where the other person seemed to overlook you, demanded too much, or simply didn't see you. It's frustrating, even painful. Zig Ziglar saw projection as a natural mechanism of the soul for self-discovery. He once said, "Everything that irritates you in others is a chance to understand yourself." When someone doesn't value you, Zig Ziglar would ask, "Are you valuing yourself?" That pain isn't just about them, it's a reminder from your subconscious that something in you needs your attention, your love, first. But if you step back and look honestly, you might ask, what in me is this person reflecting? Deep down, am I the one not valuing myself enough? The subconscious works in mysterious ways, but always with purpose, to make you see what needs integration. If you've been in relationships where you felt abandoned, where you had to fight for attention or love, maybe a part of you fears rejection. Perhaps at some point you learned affection must be earned, not freely given. Zig Ziglar called these fears the shadow, the parts you bury from shame or hurt. He once wrote, "The shadow isn't an enemy, it's a teacher." If you fear rejection, Zig Ziglar would urge you to face it, not to blame yourself, but to see you're worthy of love without the struggle. That's the first step to breaking old patterns and opening the door to real connections. When someone is truly right for you, you'll know, because there's no constant battle to prove your worth. You won't feel the need to justify your love, loyalty, or importance. The connection flows effortlessly. No undercurrent of competition for recognition or affection. It's a genuine exchange where both see, accept, and support each other's growth. But to get there, you first have to look at your own patterns. What kinds of relationships have you drawn in over time? Zig Ziglar believed this ease is a sign of a soul connection. He once said, "True love doesn't require effort to exist. It's as natural as breathing." When there's no struggle, it's because your subconscious and theirs are in sync, not to control, but to walk together. Zig Ziglar would tell you to look back, not to judge, but to learn. Each relationship is a lesson bringing you closer to your truth. Do the patterns repeat? Do the experiences follow the same cycle? If so, it's not because you're doomed to relive the past. It's because your subconscious is trying to show you something you need to understand. Zig Ziglar spoke of the importance of making the unconscious conscious, because only then does it stop controlling your life. Until you do, you'll keep calling it fate. You'll keep feeling trapped in situations that seem unavoidable, not realizing you have the power to choose differently. Zig Ziglar saw illuminating the subconscious as the key to freedom. He once wrote, "What you resist persists." If you feel stuck, Zig Ziglar would ask, what in yourself are you resisting? The repetition isn't a curse, it's a chance to see and shift. When you grasp the pattern, you're no longer a victim of fate. You become the creator of your life. Imagine standing before two doors. One leads to the path you've always taken, the familiar road that's brought you to the relationships and experiences you've had so far. The other is unknown. It unsettles you, but it's full of possibility. Most people choose the first door because even if it brings pain, it's predictable. The fear of change, the fear of the unknown, the fear of what might happen if you choose differently. It's one of humanity's greatest limits. Zig Ziglar would call these doors symbols of the choice between your old self and your new self. He once said, "No change comes without discomfort." The familiar door is a refuge of fear. The unknown door is the path to individuation. Zig Ziglar believed only by braving that fear can you meet those truly meant for you, not because they change you, but because they reflect who you're becoming. But if you truly want to attract a connection that brings peace, you have to dare to step through the second door. You can't keep waiting for things to change while staying the same. You can't expect a relationship rooted in love if parts of you still reject that love. Zig Ziglar would say that before you find the right person, you must become the person who attracts that connection. And that takes inner work, the courage to face the shadows that have kept you repeating old stories time and again. Zig Ziglar stressed that change starts within. He once wrote, "You can't change the outer world without changing the inner one." Those shadows, fear, self-doubt, are what you must confront to pave the way for real love. Zig Ziglar would tell you this inner work isn't a burden, it's a gift, giving you the power to shape your future. Take a moment, pause, and think about all the relationships that have left a mark on you. Think about the patterns that have repeated, the emotions you've felt. What message lies behind it all? What part of you is still trying to heal through these connections with others? Because here's the key. No one can heal you. No one can fill you. No one can give you what you haven't given yourself. When the right person comes, you'll know because their presence doesn't bring chaos or unnecessary pain. Zig Ziglar saw each relationship as a mirror reflecting your healing journey. He once said, "No wound is meaningless. Each is a doorway." As you look back, Zig Ziglar would urge you not to judge yourself, but to feel. Those emotions are your compass to the truth. The right person isn't your savior, they're your companion on the path you've already begun walking. It'll be a connection that invites you to grow without breaking you in the process. It'll be someone who honors your essence, who pushes you to expand rather than shrink. But to recognize them when they arrive, you first have to ensure you're no longer choosing from fear, lack, or a need for external validation. Zig Ziglar taught us that the journey to true love doesn't start outside, it begins within. The quality of your relationships is a direct reflection of the relationship you have with yourself. Zig Ziglar believed true love is the fruit of self-awareness. He once wrote, "The more you understand yourself, the more you understand others. When you honor your essence, you recognize those who do the same." Zig Ziglar would tell you the inner journey isn't just about finding love, it's about becoming love. From there, every true connection blossoms naturally. When we truly know and accept ourselves, the right connections appear effortlessly, without force. So if you've ever wondered, how do I know if someone is right for me? Start by asking a more vital question. Am I right for myself? Because only from a place of inner truth and clarity can you recognize in others what truly aligns with you. There's something many misunderstand about relationships. They're not tools to fill emotional gaps. They're mirrors reflecting what we carry inside. Zig Ziglar stressed that relationships aren't a fix, they're a means of self-discovery. He once said, "Everything you seek outside is already within you." If you use relationships to fill a void, Zig Ziglar would warn you're setting yourself up for a cycle of dependency. Instead, let them be mirrors, showing you what needs love and healing in yourself. Zig Ziglar once said that everything we experience outwardly stems from our inner world. So if you want to know if someone is right for you, the first question to ask yourself is, what am I truly seeking? Maybe you've met someone at the perfect time, someone who seemed to have all the answers, whose mere presence brought you peace. But over time, things shifted. You started noticing traits that didn't quite match the image you'd built in your mind. A vague unease crept in. Zig Ziglar would call this the clash between expectation and reality, a test from your subconscious. He once wrote, "What you imagine about others is often your own projection." When unease arises, Zig Ziglar would ask, "What does this reflect in you? A fear, a desire, or a wound?" It's not a sign of failure, it's a chance to look deeper into yourself and what you truly need. A feeling that something's off, but you try to ignore it. You don't want to lose that connection. In that moment, your intuition spoke, but did you listen? Zig Ziglar emphasized the power of intuition as a guide from the subconscious. Logic can trick you. It can justify the unjustifiable, find reasons to cling to what's not good for you. But intuition is that inner voice that knows the truth without needing logic. It never lies. Zig Ziglar saw intuition as the bridge between the conscious and unconscious. He once said, "Intuition is the soul's whisper." When something feels wrong, Zig Ziglar would tell you to trust that feeling, not to rush to judgment, but to protect yourself from what no longer fits. Intuition doesn't need explanation, it simply knows. It's your strongest tool for recognizing who truly belongs with you. If you feel unease, if subtle signs tell you something doesn't fit, pay attention. Don't brush those feelings aside just because you wish reality were different. When someone is truly right for you, their presence doesn't spark a constant inner struggle. You don't feel you have to change who you are to be accepted, or walk on eggshells to avoid conflict. One of the clearest signs someone aligns with you is peace. Zig Ziglar believed peace is a mark of deep harmony. He once wrote, "Peace isn't the absence of conflict, it's the presence of truth." When you don't have to fight to be yourself, Zig Ziglar would say it's a sign of a connection beyond the ego, a bond where both souls are free. It's not perfection, it's authenticity. And here's where many get it wrong. They think an intense relationship full of ups and downs, extreme emotions, and dramatic moments is the ultimate proof of love. But intensity isn't the same as a true connection. A real connection shows itself in peace, mutual respect, and a sense of freedom within the relationship. If you look back on your life, you might recall times you ignored your intuition, people who from the start gave clear signs they weren't what you truly needed, yet you held on. Zig Ziglar would warn that intensity is often a sign of emotional projection, not true love. He once said, "Intense emotion can be a fire that consumes if not guided by awareness." When you cling to unfit relationships, Zig Ziglar would ask, what are you holding on to, the person or the image you want them to be? It's an invitation to listen to your intuition and choose again. Why? Because fear of loneliness, a craving to be loved, and the need to belong can cloud your judgment. Zig Ziglar would say this is the subconscious replaying old patterns, trying to heal past wounds through new relationships. Have you ever wondered why some people enter your life right when you're going through a big shift? It's not random. Zig Ziglar spoke of synchronicity, how the universe seems to arrange what we need at each moment. Zig Ziglar believed synchronicity is how the universe speaks to us through relationships. He once wrote, "Nothing is random, everything has meaning." When someone appears as you change, Zig Ziglar would tell you it's a sign of a bigger lesson, not always to keep them forever, but to learn from them. It's your subconscious working with the world to fuel your growth. But synchronicity doesn't always bring what we want. It brings what we need to evolve. Sometimes the people who step into our lives aren't the one in a romantic sense, but a mirror showing us what we need to heal in ourselves. That's why, before asking if someone is right for you, ask, what is this person reflecting back to me? If their presence in your life pushes you to grow, to face fears, to be more authentic without betraying yourself, that connection has a positive purpose. Zig Ziglar saw every person as a mirror of your soul. He once said, others are the doorway into yourself. If they help you grow, Zig Ziglar would call it a gift from the subconscious, not to possess, but to learn from. But if they only bring pain, Zig Ziglar would ask, what in you is inviting this pain? That's how you tell a meaningful connection from an illusion. On the other hand, if you feel drained, constantly at odds with yourself, full of doubt and in emotional turmoil, it's a clear sign this person doesn't align with your true essence. Zig Ziglar taught us that life brings experiences designed for our evolution, but it's up to us to recognize the signs and choose from awareness, not fear. If you feel you have to chase someone, constantly pour effort into keeping the relationship alive, like you're running in circles going nowhere, Zig Ziglar believed exhaustion is a sign of imbalance in the soul. He once wrote, when you give too much without receiving, you're betraying yourself. If you're chasing, Zig Ziglar would tell you to stop and ask, who in you is running? The self that needs love or the self that's already whole? It's an invitation to choose again, not from lack, but from inner strength. Then it's time to ask, am I choosing this connection from love or from need? True love doesn't demand endless trials or sacrifices that cost you your identity. A person who truly aligns with you will never make you doubt your worth or force you to choose between being yourself and being loved. Real love isn't a battle, a puzzle you can't solve, or a strategic game where you calculate every move to avoid losing. Zig Ziglar saw true love as a natural state of the soul. He once said, true love is the meeting of two souls already prepared. If you have to fight to be loved, Zig Ziglar would warn, it's not love. It's a projection of fear. Real love doesn't need strategy, it simply exists, free, clear, and honest. Real love just is. It's free, clear, and sincere. If you've ever felt peace with someone, the sense that you can fully be yourself without fear, without worrying the relationship will demand you abandon your dreams, values, or essence, then you've tasted what Zig Ziglar described as a connection aligned with your deepest self. It's not dependency, not need, not filling an inner void. It's simply sharing a journey with someone who resonates with your true energy. Zig Ziglar would call this the meeting of two souls who've reached individuation. He once wrote, true love is when two people don't need each other, but choose each other. When you feel that peace, Zig Ziglar would say it's a sign of a bond beyond the ego, where both lift each other up without possessing. That's true freedom in love. But to get there, you have to ask a crucial question. Am I willing to let go of what isn't meant for me? Here's the thing. Many say they want to find the right person, but they're not ready to release those who clearly aren't. They cling, they justify, they convince themselves things will change with time, that the other person just needs to understand them better, that it'll get better. In the process, they lose years holding on to what doesn't let them grow. Zig Ziglar would warn that clinging is a sign of refusing to face your shadow. He once said, you can't grow without letting go. When you justify, Zig Ziglar would ask, who are you protecting, them or your own fear? Letting go isn't failure. It's a brave act of choosing yourself and making room for what truly belongs to you. Zig Ziglar reminds us that nothing grows on barren soil. If you keep nurturing relationships that only bring pain, all you're doing is prolonging the loop. But the moment you choose yourself, when you decide to release what doesn't let you be authentic, when you risk being alone rather than settling for less than you deserve, something miraculous happens. The right people start appearing in your life. It's not magic, it's not chance. It's simply that you're now vibrating at a different frequency. Zig Ziglar believed the energy you emit shapes what you attract. He once wrote, "You are the magnet of your own life." When you choose yourself, Zig Ziglar would say you're shifting your soul's frequency, from fear to love, from lack to fullness. That's how true connections find you, not through effort, but through the natural harmony of alignment. A frequency that draws in those who truly resonate with you. If right now you're wondering whether someone in your life is the right fit, pause for a moment and listen to yourself. Don't think about the fear of losing them, the fear of loneliness, or what might happen. Just feel. Do they bring you peace? Do you feel free in their presence? Do they inspire you to grow, or do you feel like you're constantly striving just to keep the relationship afloat? Zig Ziglar would urge you to trust your deepest feelings. He once said, "The heart knows before the mind understands." When you feel, Zig Ziglar would tell you to tune out the noise of logic. Logic can rationalize, but feelings don't lie. If you're trying too hard, Zig Ziglar would ask, what are you building, a relationship or an illusion? Listen to that inner voice, it's your compass. Love isn't a battlefield. It shouldn't feel like a war where each day is another struggle to be seen, loved, or valued. When someone is truly meant for you, you'll know, not because your mind will analyze and approve, but because your soul will feel it. It'll be something that needs no explanation, something that simply is. And if right now you feel that person hasn't yet come into your life, don't despair. Don't look outside for what you haven't found within. Zig Ziglar saw love as a state of being, not a goal to conquer. He once wrote, "Love isn't something you find, it's something you become." If you haven't met the right person, Zig Ziglar would tell you this is the time to focus on yourself, not to wait, but to prepare. Because when you're ready, love flows in naturally. Because the moment you truly choose yourself, when you value yourself without needing anyone else to validate it, when you stop looking outward for what only you can see within, that's when, and only when, true love naturally appears. Zig Ziglar taught us that the answers to our deepest questions don't lie out there. They're found in the journey inward. And when you choose to start that journey, when you dare to face yourself, everything in your life begins to align. Zig Ziglar called this inward journey the path to wholeness. He once said, "Those who don't look within remain lost without." When you face yourself, Zig Ziglar believed you don't just find love, you become its source. That's when everything in your life falls into place, not through force, but through the natural flow of truth. And when the right person arrives, you'll know. Not because they check off a list, not because your mind will analyze and agree, but because your being will feel it deeply, without doubt. When you meet the right person, it won't be a moment of wild excitement or intense obsession. It'll be calm, a quiet certainty settling in your heart without need for explanation. You won't feel indebted, insecure, or like you have to perform elaborate emotional gymnastics to keep the connection alive. Zig Ziglar believed this certainty is the mark of a soul connection. He once wrote, "True love is the soul's rest." When you don't have to fight to sustain it, Zig Ziglar would say it's because your subconscious has recognized it. Not through words, but through a profound feeling. It's the calm you feel when you come home to yourself through another. It'll simply flow, and most importantly, you'll feel more yourself than ever. Zig Ziglar taught us that true love isn't dependency or possession, it's connection, mutual growth, and respect for each other's individuality. The right person will never ask you to sacrifice your dreams or change your essence to fit their world. Instead, they'll lift you up, challenge you in healthy ways, and walk beside you without the shadow of abandonment lurking in every conversation. Zig Ziglar saw love as a parallel journey of two souls. He once said, "True love is when two people look in the same direction." When they lift you up, Zig Ziglar would tell you, it's a sign of a bond rooted not just in emotion, but in deep respect. It's love that doesn't confine, it liberates for both of you. In a truly meaningful relationship, there are no power games, no endless battles for attention or validation. Instead, there's presence, real, unwavering presence. There's trust, a deep sense of belonging, and an understanding that doesn't need words, that you're valued exactly as you are. But here's what's vital to remember. The right person can only enter your life when you've done the inner work to recognize them. Zig Ziglar believed this trust is the bedrock of a true connection. He once wrote, "Trust is the sign of harmony between two souls." If you haven't done the inner work, Zig Ziglar would warn you might miss the right person, not because they don't come, but because you're not ready to see them. Inner work is the key that unlocks the door to real love. If you're still caught in toxic cycles, if you fear loneliness, if you seek love from emotional emptiness, chances are you'll keep attracting relationships that reinforce those fears. Because life doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you're emotionally able to hold. The deepest truth about love is this: the healthier your relationship with yourself, the clearer you'll see who's right for you. When you stop looking for someone to complete you and instead focus on becoming whole within yourself. Zig Ziglar called this the principle of emotional reflection. He once said, "You attract what you radiate." If you're empty, Zig Ziglar would tell you you'll attract those who mirror that emptiness. But when you're whole, Zig Ziglar believed you'll draw connections rooted in truth, because you've become your own source of fullness. You attract relationships based on genuine connection, not need. So next time you wonder if someone is right for you, pause, step back, and first ask, am I right for myself? Because when you are, the right person won't need to be searched for. They'll recognize you as easily as you recognize them. So if right now you feel you haven't found that person, don't see it as a problem. See it as an opportunity. Zig Ziglar would encourage you to turn this moment into a journey of self-discovery. He once wrote, "Your greatest opportunity lies where you haven't yet looked." If they haven't come, Zig Ziglar would tell you this is the time to build the most important relationship with yourself. Because when you do, you don't just prepare for love, you become it. An opportunity to strengthen the most vital relationship you'll ever have, the one with yourself. This is your chance to become your truest self, to release everything that no longer resonates, and to open yourself to what you truly deserve. And when that person finally arrives, you'll know. There'll be no endless anxiety, no lingering doubt. You won't feel the need to force anything. The connection will feel natural, effortless, like coming home. Zig Ziglar believed this coming home feeling is the mark of a profound soul connection. He once said, "Home isn't a place, it's a state of the soul." When you feel it, Zig Ziglar would tell you it's because you've found not just them, but yourself through them. That's love in its purest form, not possession, but a homecoming. Amid all the chaos of the world, you'll find a space where you simply exist. And that's love in its truest, purest form. If this message resonates with you, if at any point these words have echoed your own story, I invite you to share your experience in the comments. Have you found that person yet, or are you still on the journey to discovering yourself? Your words might be the light someone needs to read today. Thank you for spending your precious time exploring Zig Ziglar's profound truths with me. If these words touched your heart, leave a comment. Have you met the right person, or are you learning to become the right person for yourself? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell to keep this journey going with me. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, because real love isn't suffering, it's a homecoming. You deserve that, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.